Good morning, Andrew, Dan, Dornbusch Partners. Been a couple of Dornbusch downloads. A couple of weeks since I've been on here, so I don't know whether that's been planned or not. Anyway, talking about profit reporting season. That's really what we're about here at the moment.
Thick and fast now too,
plenty
Andrew,
going on. So today we had Commonwealth Bank. Only a $4.8 billion, sorry, 4.6, only 4.6 billion for the half year. Interestingly, though, talking a lot about concerns about consumer confidence and the impact on the economy. And obviously, you know, with all this prime ministerial stuff that's been going on, of course, here in Queensland, we still don't have a premier. Some people would argue that's a good thing, but yeah, it's just, I think there's a lot of turmoil at the moment politically, and that's causing us some concern. We had the result from Suncorp. That was a pretty good result.
Yeah, 681 mil. Not too bad. 38-cent dividend, so it's a small increase there. So.
And one that we've got a bit of exposure to is one called Genworth, and Genworth does mortgage reinsurance. So if you haven't got that 20% initial deposit, they're the ones that sting you that huge premium. And yes, the big head shake. Yeah, and but it is a money-making machine. They're paying a great dividend.
And the real promise there are the lower rates, Andrew, aren't they? Just encourage people to take up the housing loans, and Genworth's going to be in there.
Absolutely. So as long as the property market holds up, all good for Genworth. Property market doesn't go so good, not so good for Genworth, and obviously not so good for the banks either. Prior to today, we've had 15 companies report, so we're really at the beginning of profit reporting season. Dan will run through in a minute as to who else is reporting. 40% have met or beat expectations, and only 20% have sort of disappointed. So early days, but positive. Looking okay. Yeah. Then we might mix it up a little bit. What are you selling at the moment?
Selling, I've really been looking at Newcrest, Andrew. I think there's a few things with Newcrest. The seasonal downtrend. What is it? April when the Indians start buying. So, you know, there might be a bit of a slump till then. Some negativity maybe with the strengthening US dollar. What do you think about that, Andrew? Like going back to cash as well in the US with rates going up over there. So
I mean, I guess the key thing with the US is whether US interest rates will go up. That's the key question. If US interest rates remains flat, that'll take a bit of steam out of the US dollar. But there certainly is an expectation it'll happen sometime this year.
They're talking about it, aren't they, in a big way. The other thing about Newcrest is no dividends since 2013 and the higher debt loads. So.
And as we were just talking about off camera, you know, the big issue with Newcrest, in my view, is Lahia, that Lahia acquisition and that Telfer mine in Papua New Guinea. So when all things are going great, it makes a bucket load of money at very low cost. But every quarter, you know, they're a bit like a kid with the homework. Oh, you know, the dog ate it. Oh, I lost it. Oh, I didn't get the permission note from Mum. There's always an excuse.
Yep. And Lahia, the way they just are cutting out the side of the mountain, it should be just so cheap and easy to do, shouldn't it?
Exactly right. So, and what you speaking briefly, I know we're sort of going to talk about Ansell in a moment. What's your preferred gold exposure at the moment?
I've been really following that North Star sort of story. Probably, you know, we've been going to those smaller companies conferences for about 4 years now. They started early in the piece there. And their initial debt they paid off in some 13 months, which they just, everything was pumped into it, and they're actually paying a 2% dividend now with their net debt compared to Newcrest 34%. Their net debt's at about 2%.
So NST is the code for those playing at home. What am I buying? Thank you for asking. Look, Ansell is one that I've been buying. So they're the guys that make the rubber gloves. They've got sort of three main divisions. They've got industrial, medical, and as they put it so politely, one-off usage. They had a 33% increase in earnings. It's not a great dividend payer. Increase. It's only a 2% dividend. It's not even franked, you know. So it's a bit different to what we're normally suggesting.
It's a lot of income from overseas.
Predominantly. So obviously currency risk is one thing that we need to be considering, but their business is going great guns. You know, you're talking about North Star paying off debt. These guys have equally been paying off debt, and they're in a great position to be actually doing some acquisitions. So for clients who are looking for something a bit more growth focused, who have got enough BHP and they've got enough Rio and are tired of the banks, Ansell might be one to think about.
Might be worth having a look at.
Now, reporting season.
We've got a few coming up this weekend.
Excuse us because there's, if you can just show the camera briefly, there's a ton of them. There's no way we're going to remember all this. So, but you've gone through and highlighted some of the more notable ones.
Yeah, so Telstra's the big one, I suppose, on the 12th. Coca-Cola, and this is just this week, Invocare. Now, that'll be really interesting. Macquarie Group. Bendigo Bank's in there as well on the 16th. So there's some good companies.
But then next week, and we'll touch on them next week, as you said, there's just a swag of them. So this week and next
West
week.
Farmers, BHP.
Yeah. So really important from your point of view, keep chatting to us during reporting season because like say Genworth, we were just talking about before, they're going to be paying a special 26 or special dividend all up around 26 cents fully franked on a $4.20 share. That's a 5% plus fully franked dividend. There are opportunities out there for people who are looking for income in particular. Companies are paying special dividends, so make sure you talk to Michael, Dan or I and we'll point you in the right direction.
Yep. I think too, think about that BHP, they've still got that $10.5 billion of franking credits sitting there waiting to go. So.
Of course, Rio reports tomorrow.
Yeah,
and
that might give us a good indication actually.
And I mean, between the two of them, they're holding $27 billion worth of franking credits. And for our 420 self-managed super fund clients, 1/4 of our client base,
gold.
That is literally gold. So yeah, really important result tomorrow from Rio. Dan, anything else from you?
All good.
All good. Till next week. Thank you.